Hey, for your ease of understanding, I will have the AFK-o-meter on screen so you can clearly see how AFK an activity is. It just represents how often you need to interact with the client. With the addition of Varlamore Part 3, the Gemstone Crab was added. The only quest that's needed to access the crab is the Children of the Sun, but I would recommend completing Twilight's Promise as well, so you can use the Quetzal and get here quickly. Once you're here, you only have to interact with the client every 10 minutes. The crab has basically no defense, so my low-level alt is getting 80,000 strength experience an hour using the Blood Moon set. I usually only sip a strength potion when the crab moves. Besides drinking an occasional strength potion, the level 4 prayer Burst of Strength can give a slight DPS boost, and it lasts around 30 minutes depending on your prayer level. There's an altar fairly close as well if you decide to do this. When the crab moves, all you need to do is click on the nearby cave and it brings you to the new location. You can use any attack style to attack the crab, so it's good to train all your combats up in an AFK manner. With the forestry update, redwoods became even more AFK than they previously were. Instead of depleting at a 1 out of 11 chance, they now deplete on a 4-minute and 24-second timer. To make this even more AFK, you can make arrow shafts, but I would actually recommend bringing a knife and making the new redwood staff. There's a bank nearby which allows you to store these and take advantage of them with the fletching minigame that was added with Part 3 of Varlamore. This means that while AFK training woodcutting, you will be banking very good fletching experience at the minigame and a host of useful items. And yes, you can get dragon arrow tips from this. After you complete the final Dawn quest, you unlock the new boss, but you also unlock a new woodcutting method to chopping the infected roots before you get to the boss room. These roots never deplete, and you only stop chopping them when your inventory is full of regular logs, at which point you can just drop these logs and resume chopping. This is insanely AFK. You probably interact with the client once every 20 minutes. You get around 700 demon tears per hour, and they sell for 600 GP each right now, so it's about 420,000 GP an hour, and 10,000 woodcutting experience. Ironman will also find the tears somewhat useful if you're like me and never claim the rewards from Doom and go till you die, so you have very few tears. The last woodcutting method I want to talk about is one I used early on in my account to help with maxing. I hated making planks for construction, so I paired it with an AFK woodcutting method while I was working. Mahogany trees last for a minute while chopping them. If you chop them in Prifdinus, there's a sawmill right next to the trees, so you can convert them to planks on the spot. And if you get a plank sack, you can add those planks to it automatically so you can double the amount of planks per trip before you bank. You can also do this with the teak trees nearby if you don't want to do mahogany. So, this method has decent experience, which is around 60,000 per hour, you get planks while AFKing, you get crystal shards from skilling in Prif, and you have a chance to get crystal implings that fly by, and if you do it on a forestry world, you can work in some forestry items for the green log. It's a pretty good AFK method all in all. This is a good time to mention the Runelite plugins I use to help with AFKing. There are 3 main ones. The first one is Click to Minimize. I use this heavily while working. Using the mahogany trees as an example, I simply type chop down, mahogany tree. And that means whenever I do that action, the client minimizes itself. The other 2 things I do are in the Runelite plugin settings, I switch request focus to force in combination with the idle notifier plugin to pop up my client when my character isn't doing anything. And then I click a mahogany tree and it's gone again. Karambwans are the best food, and I will die on this hill. A 2-tick attack delay instead of 3-tick, and you can combo eat with them while healing 18 HP. Couple them being an amazing item to have in bulk, a decent pet chance, and the fact that the fishing spot never moves, and this is a perfect AFK activity. It's around 40,000 fishing experience per hour, and is just shy of 5 minutes of AFK time with the fish barrel. You can get a few clue scrolls as well, so you can do those after work. On average, fishing spots move every 2.5 to 5 minutes, and there are a few exceptions. We can use the new shark lures or the diabolical worms to catch sharks or anglerfish at decent rates while still having a good AFK method. There's a plugin I like to use for anglerfish to know which spot recently moved and should, on average, have the longest AFK. If you use the NPC idle timer and type in rod fishing spot, it will let you know when a spot recently moved. The default settings start at 300 seconds and count down from there. You can change it to whatever works, but I find that 300 seconds works pretty well. Remember, the best AFK activity you can do is like this video and subscribe. I put out a lot of tip videos like this one, as well as my Collection Grandmaster series, which I think is a really good watch. Check it out. Thanks. The addition of the Gilded Staff of Collection has the masses wanting easy collection logs. The best way to obtain these is with clue scrolls. If you want to AFK easy clues, make use of those Runelite plugins we talked about earlier, and auto-pickpocket some wealthy citizens while they are distracted. On average, wealthy citizens get distracted for 20 seconds every 91.5 seconds. So you would be AFK thieving about 22% of the time. This means you would get about 660 pickpockets an hour with 0% fail chance, resulting in about 8 easy clues and 60,000 thieving experience per hour. This isn't very efficient, but if easy clues are your goal, then this is an AFK option, and you have a chance to get the Rocky Pet while you're at it. For medium clues, you can use the Venator Bow in the Catacombs. Fill up your inventory with prayer potions for a long trip, and an extra bonus if you have a Bone Crusher, because all of the bones buried in the Catacombs will regenerate your prayer. I just wear Fool Sunfire, so I only have to click on the client when a clue scroll drops. A benefit of this method is you also get totem pieces, which results in bonus hard clues and elite clues from Skatizo, and then you also get to kill Skatizo to work on his collection log. And you can pick up some ancient shards if you still need those for the Emberlight. Right next door to the Dagonoths are the jellies, but instead of medium clues, you'll be getting hard clues. You'll still get the benefit of getting totem pieces and ancient shards, but now you also get some rune drops you can alch to make back some GP. Unfortunately, jellies don't have bones, so you will be drinking more prayer potions here. I also advise you not to juggle over 100 hard clues at once, because this just ruins your weekend. For elite clues, Seracnus is our go-to guy. You'll also get a bunch of hard clues from this as well. Arania boots are a hard requirement, but if you're at the point of AFKing elite clues, I imagine this isn't a big deal. I wouldn't do this until you have at least an Abyssal Bludgeon, but an Inquisitor's Mace is better, and a Scythe is best if you want to be a lunatic spending your charges. Wear gear that has high magic defense and a good strength bonus, and just pray protect from melee with auto retaliate on. A Blood Fury would be best, but you'll have to judge your own situation if that's worth it for you. I don't think the Blood Fury charges are worth it, so I just ate a shark occasionally. The only things that can damage you are the mage minions, which doesn't happen very often, so on average I only had to touch the game every 2 minutes or so. In addition to clues, he really hooks you up with some nice runes, alkabols, and I ended up with over 30,000 red spider eggs from here. Clue scrolls are nice, but here's a rundown of collection logs in general that you can AFK. Soul Wars. Join a taxi game and you follow somebody with auto retaliate on and just rake in the points. Castle Wars has 39 collection logs, so get in a portal and hide back here and enjoy your 20 minutes of AFK. Trouble Brewing has 30 collection logs. Fill up 100 buckets of water and AFK the rest of the game and you'll get your points. If you have cannonballs to spare, pretty much all of the champion scrolls are AFK. Quick tip here is use the Click to Minimize plugin to minimize your client when you reload the cannon. The Tazar log is pretty AFK with the new goading potions. Drink one and pray melee while auto-casting Blood Barrage and you'll get those drops in no time. Goading potions in general can be used for most of the Slayer log. Just drink the potion with auto-retaliate on and leave the room for 5 minutes. One of the least enjoyed skills is mining, so take a look at the Star Miner Discord and find the nearest star to you, and you have 7 minutes of AFK mining time. The Stardust you get from this can give you some nice gems as well for early crafting levels on an Ironman. If you want an AFK mining activity that gives better supplies though, check out Amethyst. This is only about a minute of AFK at a time, but makes really good ranged ammunition, second only to Dragon. Mining also has an AFK way to train prayer that came out with Varlamore Part 1. In Camtorum, you can find calcified rocks and mine them starting at 41 mining. They deplete after about 70 seconds, but you can get blessed bone shards while you're AFKing for some easy prayer experience. Speaking of AFKing prayer, let's talk about a couple of ways to do that. Either through engaging in various Varlamore activities or chiseling some bones into shards, you can build up a stack of blessed bone shards pretty easily and quickly. Now, you can either buy the wine from the Grand Exchange, or if you're a filthy Ironman, Alderaan has a shop with infinite stock for 1 GP each. Take the Quetzal to the Tiamat and bless the wine, and then go to this libation bowl and you get 500 prayer experience for every 100 shards. Each offering uses 2 prayer points, but there's an altar nearby that you can recharge at. You can spam click to go faster, but this has been a chill AFK prayer method on the hardcore with all the extra bone shards I have. If you have any spare Sunfire Splinters, you can add those to the wine to get 600 prayer experience instead of 500. When you compare the cost of the shards to the Gilded Altar, you can see it's cheaper overall, but it's slightly more expensive than the Wilderness Altar. But this way you don't risk getting PK'd, so it may end up being cheaper. If you ever run out of bone shards, remember you can break down any type of bone. But these sun-kissed bones are used strictly for this process and are obtained from several Varlamore sources. If you're looking for a slight profit while AFKing prayer, you can use a Venator bow at the Abyssal Demons with an Ash Sanctifier in your inventory. You can get a few hard clues from this as well, and then you get some Abyssal Whips and Rune Drops to profit. This is only about 20,000 prayer experience per hour, but it is insanely AFK. The skill with the least amount of 99s is Runecrafting. So, let's AFK it. The first method of AFKing Runecrafting is to AFK the Dayalt Essence. After the Sins of the Father quest, you can AFK a new type of essence. The rock moves every roughly 1 minute, so it's very AFK because the shards you mine are stackable, so you never have to think about bank trips or anything like that. Now, this method doesn't directly give you runecrafting experience, but the essence you get gives you a bonus 50% runecrafting, and this multiplies with the bonus you get from ZMI. So you're AFKing bonus experience to make your runecrafting go very fast when you have time to not AFK. Although there is an argument that you could ZMI while working from home or AFKing, and I certainly have done some low effort ZMI, but we won't be talking about that too much. The next method we'll talk about is Zaya runecrafting. At level 77, you can craft blood runes here, and at level 90, you can make soul runes. Because Ironman needs so many bloods and souls, this has been my personal go-to AFK while working. I've heard advice of waiting till a higher mining level to AFK this, but it's really not that big of a deal. At level 38, the chance of the rock depleting is 85%, and it scales up all the way to 90% at level 99. So the AFK time doesn't increase too much. Pair that with the fact that you get crafting and mining experience in this activity, and you may want to start this one earlier in your max grind. Now we're entering a whole new tier of AFKing, a level you don't even have to be logged in for. I've been a bit consumed on the Collection Grandmaster account with all of the new content, so my group hardcore isn't seeing as much sunlight as he would like. But just logging on once or twice a day and spending 2 minutes doing a birdhouse run or a farm run has private server style rights and rewards. When I used to work at a Ford dealership and I had no customers, bam, log on to mobile, quick birdhouse run, thank you very much. Several things happen when you're logged off that you can take advantage of, such as the farming skill as a whole, birdhouse runs, the daily bone meal, daily battle staffs, topping off miscellanea favor and the coffers, and then every week make sure to do your tiers of Gothics. There are more, of course, but just pick the ones that are most important to you. And our last category of AFK things is everything you can do from a bank. Bonfires are now full experience and fully AFK. So you can set up a fire right next to the bank and chuck some logs in there. Who needs Wintertot in 2025? We AFK'd a ton of fish earlier on, and now you can AFK cook them and win your clan's killing competition at no effort. All of those logs you have, AFK fletch them so you can use them at the new fletching minigame later on. If you have any steel bars, making cannonballs is very AFK. I'm guilty of doing this on mobile while walking my dogs. Just start the process and put the phone in my pocket for a couple of minutes. If you decide to do the prayer method we mentioned earlier on, you can AFK make the Sunfire wine to be prepared. Banked experience is always a good AFK option if you're running out of ideas. I hope this video helped you find some new AFK methods. Please consider liking the video, and if you enjoyed this type of content, feel free to subscribe. See you all around.